So today we have CW's Deathstroke taking on the MCU's Winter Soldier. Who wins? Let's find out. So, always strength. Who is stronger? Well, Slade has easily slammed Oliver into a wall with enough force to crack it, swing Oliver over his head, send a soldier flying with a kick, and threw two other soldiers a great distance. He snapped a rifle in half with just his bare hands, punched through a dude's chest, and killed a dude by squeezing his head with just his bare hands. Just took his head and squeezed it. Uh, but even with just his bionic arm, Bucky easily cracked pavement with a punch, punched through a wall, and knocked out an armored guard in the process, and rammed Captain America through closed elevator doors. His vibranium arm is obviously more powerful than that. He's also sent a dude high in the air with a kick and another through a wall, pulled Falcon out of the air with a grapple hook, ripping off one of his wings in the process, and he even physically restrained Iron Man to the point Tony had to use his unibeam just to escape the restraint. Overall, I'd say Winter Soldier is stronger simply because of his vibranium arm, but other super soldiers have been able to contend with and even overcome Bucky, so I'm sure Slade is no different. Now, moving on to durability. Well, Bucky has withstood hits from Captain America, Spider Man, US Agent, Iron Man, Black Panther, and other super soldiers that sent him flying, and he got right back up like it was nothing. He's routinely landed on his feet after falling a few stories just fine. He no-sold a strike to the back of the neck by Black Widow. He was just fine after a support beam weighing several tons fell on him. He withstood his bionic arm being blown off by Iron Man's unibeam, and even before he was a super soldier, Bucky survived a fall off of a mountain where he lost his arm in the process. He survived that. Granted, he would have died if Hydra didn't save him, but he survived long enough for them to save them. So, yeah. But Slade has withstood several metal beams falling on top of him, being kicked through a glass pane, and he ignored a bullet wound. He survived an explosive arrow and being stabbed in the eye with an arrow as well. He also has a great healing factor, seeing that he's healed from all of that, and even claims to have healed from being cut all the way to the bone. But his healing factor isn't regenerative, seeing that his eye never fully healed. His armor is also arrow and bulletproof. I think it's obvious Slade is better here, but only because of his armor and, of course, his healing factor. But it's still close. And now, speed. Well, Deathstroke has outreacted Oliver, easily countered a speed blitz, casually deflected rapid fire arrows with his sword, and even dodged a bullet while getting closer to the shooter. But Bucky has routinely outpaced speeding cars, easily and quickly turned around and caught Cap's shield, routinely blocked bullets with his arm while getting closer to the shooter, and he's even flipped through Sam's machine gun fire as well. I'd say Bucky is slightly faster. So, Bucky is slightly stronger and faster, while Slade's armor and healing factor makes him a little bit more durable. Now, moving on to the really fun part. Who's more skilled? Well, Bucky is one of the best fighters and martial artists in the MCU. He just is. He's held his own or bested Black Panther, US Agent, and even Captain America at a fast, frenzied pace. He even bested Black Widow, Karen Carter, T'Challa, and Tony Stark simultaneously, fighting against all of them at the same time. He also spent decades as Hydra's perfect assassin, not failing a single assassination mission. But Slade was trained in the ASIS, making him a master of armed and unarmed combat. He's quickly mowed down whole groups of guards, mercenaries, soldiers, and ninjas. He's bested his former partner Billy Wintergreen, Oliver Queen, and even Oliver and the whole Arrow team single handedly. Also, Overall, Oliver is probably the best fighter throughout the whole series, right? I think that's fair to say. And he was trained by none other than Slade. There was even a time where Ollie said he couldn't beat Slade. I'd say Bucky is the more skilled hand-to-hand fighter, as Slade uses his weapons more than his hand-to-hand skill. Speaking of, Slade carries a sword as his primary weapon. He also carries a wide variety of uh, guns, as well as some grenades, flashbangs, etc., etc. With his handgun, he is used to score 2 quick headshots while on a moving bus, as well, and he also has knives as well. He could also accurately throw knives and even accurately throw his sword. But aside from Bucky's vibranium arm, he's carried a wide variety of firearms over the years, as well as knives, grenades, and a grapple hook. Nowadays, I think he typically just has a handgun and maybe a knife or two. So, who wins? Well, Bucky's arm makes him stronger. He's faster, the better hand to hand fighter, and of course, he has his vibranium arm. Slade is tougher because of his armor and his healing factor. He's the better melee fighter, and he has more weapons and his enhanced senses. So, Slade's biggest problem is going to be that arm, while Bucky's biggest problem is probably going to be his armor and healing factor and his versatility. Well, actually, Slade's healing factor is pretty solid, but it's not instantaneous. So, more of just the armor that's the problem as well as his versatility. And although that his armor will stop Bucky's guns and knives that he's carrying, it will not stop his arm. His arm will wreak havoc with Slade, and it is a great counter to Slade's sword and guns as well. This would be an epic fight that either one could win, honestly. And a fight, man, this is one of those fantasy fights that everyone wants to see. CW's Deathstroke and MCU Winter Soldier. Actually, Deathstroke versus Winter Soldier in general, but I'm going to have to side with Bucky on this fight at the end of the day. The Winter Soldier wins, but just barely. Like and subscribe if you did enjoy. Leave a comment of what you think and hit the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos and all the great stuff. I'll catch you on the next one and have a great day. Peace.